Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder. Today we are going to dissect the latest filing from the Cato Corporation, and trust me, after you hear the details of this report, you might just want to shop somewhere else. Think of it as a fashion faux pas, financially speaking. So what's the buzz? Well, this is a proxy statement. It's basically the company laying out what they want shareholders to vote on at the next annual meeting. We're talking about electing directors, changes to employee stock plans, and other important things. First up is the election of directors. They are asking shareholders to re-elect Teresa Drew and Dee Harding-Stowe to the board of directors for another term. The board believes that these folks have diverse experiences and can guide the company. Next, there's a proposal to amend and update the employee stock purchase plan. It's basically a way for employees to buy company stock at a discount. The company wants to increase the number of shares available by 250,000 and extend the plan for another 5 years. They say it's about aligning employee interests with shareholders. Finally, they want shareholders to ratify, that is, approve the selection of PricewaterhouseCoopers LT as their independent accounting firm for the next fiscal year. It's standard practice, but important for ensuring the company's books are being looked at fairly. Now let's look at who owns the company. This table shows how many shares are owned by the directors, big shareholders, and top executives. John Cato, the chairman, president, and CEO, owns a big chunk of the stock, controlling a majority of the voting power. Outside of that, Aldebaran Capital, Amit Agarwal, and Dimensional Fund Advisors are listed as owning more than 5% of the stock. It's worth knowing who really controls the company. Back to the director elections. The board is recommending shareholders vote for Dee Harding-Stowe and Teresa J. Drew. They highlight experience with public companies, real estate, financial expertise, and retail knowledge as reasons to keep them on the board. Let's talk more about the employee stock purchase plan. The company wants to add more shares to this plan to make sure all employees have access to it. They want to increase the number of shares available by 250,000 for a total of 750,000. They also want to extend this plan until 2030. Basically, they want to continue to let employees buy company stock at a discounted price. If this amendment passes, the total Class A stock available for this program will total 750,000 shares. Also, if there are any stock splits, the amount of shares each person can purchase during the offering period would change accordingly. Eligible employees get the option to buy shares of Class A stock every 6 months at a discounted price of 15%. The Compensation Committee can still make changes to the ESPP at any time or shut it down completely. But under this restatement, the plan ends on September 30, 2030. There are tax implications to this plan. If the participant holds shares acquired under the plan for more than 2 years from the offering date, they'll recognize ordinary income of 15% of the fair market value of shares on the purchase date, minus the purchase price, what that is, and welging date. If shares are disposed of in less than 2 years, they will recognize ordinary income as the fair market value of shares on the purchase price. The company qualifies for exemption as a controlled company, meaning that more than 50% of the combined voting power of its common stock is beneficially owned by John P.D. Cato, meaning, again, he has most of the power when it comes to company matters. John Cato is both the chairman of the board and the CEO, which is not normally the case as it concentrates power. The board of directors is responsible for overseeing the company's risk management. As part of that, the company reviews financial, strategy, and operation risks. Our board is made up of 29% female and 71% male directors. We believe the background, knowledge, and experience that these individuals possess broaden the board's perspective and strengthen the quality of its decision-making. Over 97% of their associates are female and over 50% of their workforce are ethnically diverse. The company is pursuing initiatives to lower their environmental impact through lower energy consumption, sourcing more sustainable products, and increasing their recycling program. Now let's dive into the equity compensation plan. This shows how many shares are available under the company's compensation plans. There are about 2.8 million shares available for future issuance under equity compensation plans. This is a key factor to note because it dilutes shares that have already been issued. This section details how the top executives get paid. It covers everything from base salaries to bonuses and stock awards. The company talks about shareholder feedback on executive pay. Although the vote is non-binding, the company considers it when setting compensation. The goal is to keep executive compensation somewhere between the 25th and 75th percentiles of similar companies. However, it says that it depends on the company's and individuals' performance. The company's compensation program is based on bringing in talented leadership and rewarding them for achieving key financial and strategic goals. Base salaries are set based on industry competition for similar job roles. The company also uses internal and external reviews to make sure it's fair. The company sets aside a pool of funds for bonuses and benefits. It's tied to pre-tax income targets. If they do better, the bonus pool gets bigger and vice versa. Scroll Max and Scroll Key, the CEO's max bonus in 2024 was set at 150% of their base salary, while other executives was 60%, 75%. The company determined what the shares would be worth by using a rolling 90-day average set before the company meeting. The company says they don't have employment agreements with the NEOs, which is the named executive officers or top employees. There are also not different benefits for change of control. It's based on company policy. The compensation committee basically says they've reviewed everything and recommend including the compensation details in the proxy statement. Here's the meat. This table shows how much the executives actually made. John Cato, the CEO, made over $2.4 million in 2024. That included salary, stock awards, and other compensation. The Chief Financial Officer, Charles Knight, made about $602,000. Scroll. Executive Vice President, Ex-Chief Real Estate and Store Scroll. Gordon Smith made about $511,000. This shows what stock awards and other incentives were granted to the executives in 2024. The fair market value of company stock was about 4.75 on the grant date of May 1st, 2024. This table shows the number of stock options they have that have not vested. J. Cato has 525,898 that have not vested, which is valued at about $1.7 million. John P.D. Cato realized 563,246 stock shares. Gordon D. Smith made $56,392 on vested shares. The company offers a deferred compensation plan. However, it says there were no NEO deferrals for the non-qualified deferred compensation plan for 2024. If there's a change in company control, all unvested stock awards would immediately vest. The value would be about $3.35 per share if this event happened on January 31, 2025. Here's the required CEO pay ratio. It shows the CEO's compensation was roughly 156 times that of the median employee. If they're full-time, that's about 67 times the median full-time employee. The table of what was actually paid shows the adjustments they made in terms of compensation. They deducted stock award and added the fair value. This section basically says that the audit committee has to approve all the work done by the accounting firm. The company reviews all relationships and transactions where there might be a conflict of interest with the company's leaders. This just says that everyone who needed to report their stock ownership to the SEC did so on time. And that is all for the 2025 annual meeting. Okay, so what's my take? The fashion retail world is a tough one. These folks are trying to stay relevant, but the numbers don't lie. It's clear that things haven't been trending in the right direction when we look at shareholder returns. Couple that with 2 years of negative net income, the numbers don't look great, even though there are efforts to make things more sustainable. The real challenge is getting shoppers back into stores or to shop online, and that's what's driving the performance and the executive pay. They're asking for a lot, including being re-elected and having the stock purchase plan. A big part of that is retaining key associates and promoting the creation of shareholder value. It remains to be seen if they can deliver. Thanks for tuning in. If you found this helpful, then please like, subscribe, and comment to the Corporate Decoder.